right. Let's see who comes in first. Who's going to come in here first? Oh, let's see. The first comment was from BTS Shia. All right. Now I'm going to go behind the camera for just a second so I can set up the chat. That way I can read what everyone's saying to me. So one second. I'm just refreshing the page here so I can see who's in here. Thing is, because last time I was streaming using my front camera and pointed out that the writing was backward. So I switched it. So I'm now filming with the front camera of the cell phone. But in order to read the comments, I have a mirror behind me and I also have my laptop right in front. So that's why I'm just getting set up right now. Okay, let's go over here into the chat. And let's see if I can read the chat messages here. Well, while that's loading, hello, I'm here. I'm going to read the chats on the other side of my phone. Hello from Spain, first class. Thank you for this lesson. Yes, we'll get started in just a few minutes. I just wanted to start this a little bit early. Hey, let's see if that shows up. No idea. Okay. Oh, I see. I had selected the wrong. Oh, interesting. Can do broadcast alert. Okay. Sorry, I'm here, everyone. I was just getting this set up. There we go. Now I can see the chat. Okay. Okay. Now I can see the chat a little bit better. So now we're in business. I think I just need to adjust this camera a little bit farther back because the view that I see from my phone when I was doing a test is not the same angle that I get when I'm actually doing the streaming, which is it's a little bit zoomed in. Okay, I think we're good now. I just raise this up a little bit more. Okay, hello to everyone. I'm actually reading your comments. I have a laptop right below my cell phone in front of the camera. Actually, let me make this a little bit bigger even. Okay. Should I call you Sunsangnim? You can just call me Billy if you like. Sunsangnim if you really want to call me teacher. It's completely up to you. Right on time, yes. Yes, I actually started a couple minutes early because I knew there would be a little bit of technical difficulties to set up like there were the last time, but I'm working on it. This is my second stream here doing a live class. So next time, I promise it will be even a little bit more prepared. So I actually might next time switch completely the format that I'm doing this to make it even better. So we'll see. Anyway, today, so I guess to not waste any time, we'll just get right into the lesson. I'm just going to check your chat. 오늘은 뭐 할게요. Now today, it should be 뭐 할 거예요. Let's see, is this size acceptable? Or do you need me to write larger than this? Or is this size acceptable? Hello from England. Oh, I see there's more chats here I need to see. Okay, it's read. Okay, I see. There we go. Now we're good. See, there's always some little technical difficulties when I start. That's because the YouTube app is a little bit strange in that you cannot mirror the image. So it's required a lot of different workarounds so that I can write something on a board and show it to you guys. So yes, so another person had said 뭐 할게요. as a question, but geo is not used for questions. Geo is used when you're saying you're going to do something for somebody, as like doing a favor for somebody, or when you're replying to somebody like, yes, well, I'll do that. I'll take care of that. So that's not the form we're talking about today, though. Just wanted to point out that it should be 거, just 할 거예요, just the regular future tense. And that 할게요 and 할 거예요 are completely different forms, although they look very similar. Okay, today we're going to be talking about, what am I doing in Korean? Why are you doing this at 10? I'm sleeping now. It's fine. If you're just coming in here and you're wondering how long is this going to go, can I watch it later? Yes, you do not have to be physically present here unless you want to get feedback and if you want to practice with me. So this is a live chat right now. So if you write things in the chat after I finish each section, like I'll teach something and then I'll give some time for people to practice. If you write something during that time, I'm going to look at it and give you feedback right away. So you won't have to wonder if you understood that form correctly. But this will also be uploaded on the channel, just like the last live stream was. It'll be about 2 hours. I'll try to do about an hour, hour and a half today of teaching, and the remainder of that will be spread throughout it. We'll be giving you feedback on your practice sentences that you guys want to try making. So today we're going to be talking about sentence connectors. So what is a sentence connector? Well, it's a particle or it's a grammar form that you can use to connect two different sentences. So in English, we have sentence connectors in English. We just don't really call them sentence connectors. It's not really necessary. Let me just read the chat a little bit. If you see me looking down, it means I'm looking at the chat because I have the chat on my laptop, which is sitting on top of a chair below my cell phone and everything here. Okay, so for example, in English, you might have the sentence, I'm tired, right? And you might have another sentence, I'm hungry, okay? These are two sentences. They might be related, they might not be. In this case, I'm tired and I'm hungry. Are these really related in English? Not really. I mean, you could say, you're hungry, you're tired, but you're hungry, right? But these two sentences by themselves are not otherwise related. I'm tired, but I'm hungry, right? I'm really tired, but I'm hungry. Or you could say I'm tired and I'm hungry. I'm tired and on top of being tired, I'm also hungry, right? Or you can say, well, I'm tired, though I am hungry, though. And you could probably think of a few other words you could stick in here to connect them together. Well, in Korean, they have the exact same thing that you can do to connect in different ways. Maybe you're hungry because you're tired. Maybe you're hungry, but you're mostly tired, or you're tired, but you want to say that you're hungry instead. There's lots of different ways you can connect these two sentences, and that's what a sentence connector in Korean does. It takes two sentences and puts them together into one complete thought. So individually, I'm tired and I'm hungry are not related to each other. You could be tired, but you could also be hungry. They're not exclusive. You don't have to be tired to be hungry, or you don't have to be hungry to be tired. I'm explaining this a little bit overboard to make sure that you can kind of see where I'm going, that sentence connectors can combine two sentences that might otherwise be completely unrelated and put them together into one single complete thought. So I asked on the community tab, actually before I continue, let me just check to make sure that's fine. Tired, I'm hungry. 저는 I'm, yes, that means I am. Well, it doesn't mean I am, it just means as for me. But we'll do a lesson on those particles later because that's a big topic. Sort of like fanboys. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Okay, so in Korean, we're going to be talking about sentence connectors. Now, I asked you guys in the community tab of my YouTube channel to vote which sentence connectors you wanted to learn about because there are actually a lot of them. And if I were to try to cover all of them today, which I could, there would be like 5 minutes for each of them and no time for practice and no example sentences, and it would just be a waste of time. So I asked for your feedback on which ones you wanted to learn the most, and the ones you didn't vote on this time are going to be for next time. So this is part 1 of sentence connectors, and next lesson we'll continue with part 2. Now, they're all important to know. The ones that I'll be teaching are very important, that you need to know these to have any basic Korean conversation. But today we're going to be covering 3 of maybe the more important ones to know. And then next time we'll cover 3 more of the other, 3 more ones that you'll also need to know. So this time we're going to be covering the particles. And we talked about this a little bit last time, though this last time was for verb endings. This time we're going to be talking about 고 as a sentence connector, because it's a little bit different as a sentence connector. There's some more things to learn about it. Also, 지만, but. So we have and, which is 고, 지만, which is but, and we're also going to have 대. Now, 대 is a very long form. It has special conjugation rules, and it has several different usages. So I've seen people mess up. Out of all these 3, usually people can get 고 pretty well and 지만 pretty well. 대 gets messed up all the time. I see it used incorrectly not by Koreans so much, but by other people who are learning Korean, even people who can already have full conversations in Korean, even people who are fluent in Korean. I hear them mess this one up because you have to actually learn it. You can't only pick this one up through exposure unless you're actually just living in Korea your whole life. So this is a very important one, but I'll do this last because in my opinion, this is the most versatile and the most complicated of these 3. But you really need to know this, so it's essential. And you've probably heard this used already if you watch any variety shows or listen to any music. It comes up all the time. So the first thing you need to know, the first rule of sentence connectors is do not talk about sentence connectors. No, the first thing you need to know is that there are a lot of sentence connectors, and any sentence connector can also be used as a sentence ending. So what that means is we had the word and or but. You can also start a sentence with and, right? You can also start a sentence with but. You can also end a sentence with and but in Korean, which sounds a little bit strange. So in English, you might say like, I'm an American and period. You can't really do this in English. Or I'm an American, but you can't do this in English, but you can do this in Korean. Any sentence connector, the unique thing is any sentence connector can be used as a sentence ending. But you have to learn what that means when you do it. Because if you just hear this, you'll be listening. You're like, and what? And what? Or but what? What are you talking about? What's the rest of it? But in Korean, you can just finish your thought like that. And it has a different meaning in Korean than it does when you translate it into English, which is why even though this connector, 고, is one of the most basic ones, I still hear people misuse it because they don't understand that it can also be used at the end. It can be used completely at the beginning, not by itself, but I'll talk about that. So just trying to give you some expectations of what we're going to be covering today. And hopefully, if you already know these particles and you might be thinking like, oh, I don't need this, then hopefully you'll get something out of this lesson anyway. And if you're a complete beginner, feel reassured that nothing I'm going to teach you is extremely difficult. There's nothing here that's extremely hard that I'm going to cover. It's all basic Korean. If you have like a low beginner level of Korean grammar and some basic verbs, you should be fine for today's lesson. It's not going to go into any complicated territory, and you don't need that, which is what I'm trying to say. These sentence connectors are all fairly basic, the ones that we're going to be covering today. They're just a little bit trickier than people might give them credit for. So let me read the chat for a second. Oh, and if you write something in the chat, as always, if I don't reply to it, feel free to say it again when I'm looking at the chat, because I can't read the chat while I'm teaching, since I'm trying to think about what I'm saying and look at what I'm writing. So I can't read the chat while I'm teaching. But after I finish saying a segment or teaching a concept, then I'll go look at the chat. So if I missed what you said, feel free to say it again. Like right now, I'm just looking at the chat a little bit again. So I'm not trying to ignore anybody. I don't ignore trolls unless you're mean. I won't ignore trolls. I won't ignore any comment. I'll try to read whatever you're saying. I might not reply to everything if you're not asking a specific question. Ask for donations to buy another outfit. Yes, if you become a member of this channel, you get a special badge by your name, and I see that, so I know, oh, it's a member. And then you also get like little emotes that you can use in the chat. They're not animated, but they're little emote characters that I made, and only the members get those. But membership is not required for this stream at all. It's just a bonus way to support me. Let's see, may have to watch this later. No problem. But yes, it does, and we'll talk about that. Is that paid? Yeah. Oh yeah, Oro the nymph. Yeah, Oro the nymph. You can see his name comes up in green, also with a membership badge next to it. So that's what you get as the members. And I kind of see those a little bit easier, but I'll read your comment regardless. But I do see the membership ones like easier. Good morning in Korea. Oh yeah, it's like 6 a.m. in Korea, isn't it? You say 나는 뚱뚱한 미국? I fat America? I think you're trying to say I'm a fat American, but no, that's not how you say it. 자고 싶지만 배고파요. Yes, it's very good. We're going to be talking about, so like I said, these are basic concepts, but they have a little more to them than you might have learned before. So we'll just get started right away. Our first one is 고. This is the most basic, I'd say, yeah, this is definitely the most basic sentence connector in Korean, but there's a little more to it, which I'll talk about after I give the basic explanation. We covered this one last time, but we covered this one in relation to it being at the end of a sentence, not to using it as a sentence connector. So in order to do this, first I'll tell you the conjugation. You take a verb stem. So you take a stem of any verb and you attach 고. So as I mentioned last time, a stem is any verb that ends in 다. If you don't see the 다, it's definitely not a verb stem. So if you have something like 배고파요, I know some people might think, oh, I take the stem by I remove the yo at the end. No, that's not the stem. This is not the stem. The stem would be a different verb, 배고프다. Sorry, I wrote that weird. So I'm like, my hand's kind of upside down. 배고프다, it'll end in a 다 always. And then you remove the 다, now you have the verb stem. So that's how you get the verb stem. So you take a verb stem by removing the 다, and then you attach 고, and that's it. You're done. If you're doing a different tense, such as you have the past tense, if you've learned the past tense already, for example, like 했어요, is the past tense. To get the past tense stem, the stem of the past tense is also going to end in 다. And if you ever do the past tense, that's just going to be after the 상시옷, the two S's, the two shields at the bottom. It's always going to be this. It's always going to be the two S's followed by 다. So if you're not sure how to get a past tense and change it to the past tense stem, you just do that. If you haven't learned the past tense yet, ignore this. You can learn it later. So that would just be 해 with the two at the bottom and then 고 for the past tense stem. But we're just going to focus on the present tense for right now. So we have 하고, or if you're doing the verb 먹다, to eat. Once again, to get the verb stem, you remove the 다 and you attach 고, 먹고, 먹고. So what this means is, someone said it in the chat already, and we talked about this last time a little bit. This means and. So 먹고 가요. 먹고 가요. 가요 from the verb 가다, meaning to go. So this means eat and go. That's pretty much all there is. That's pretty much all there is to the meaning of this. It is only for connecting. Now, this is not how you say and to connect two words, to connect two nouns. That's completely different. This is only for verbs. In fact, all of these sentence connectors are for connecting verbs. This is not how you connect nouns. To connect nouns, you'll use a different particle. And I have a lesson about how to say and. I think it's episode 20 of my Learn Korean series. I think so. And this is only for connecting verbs. So if you wanted to say, I eat bread and cheese, do not use bang 고 치즈, it'll be completely wrong and it will make zero sense to a Korean. They might not even know what you're trying to say because it's a very different thing. So this is only for connecting verbs, but I'll show you what I was talking about before. So we have these two parts. So this is just showing you once again about sentence connectors. We can have 먹어요, I eat, and then 가요, 가요. These two sentences, eat and go, are completely unrelated until we use 먹다, get back 먹다. We remove the 다, so now we have the verb stem, add 고. Now we have a continuing single sentence that was connected by 고. 먹고 가요. Eat and go. This is just a very basic example. I don't think I've ever heard the sentence. Well, actually, I probably have. But it's just to show you with simple verbs how it can connect together. There are no special conjugation rules for this one. Like if you have a verb that ends in this letter, you have to change it like this. Like a lot of grammar forms have special rules for special types of verb stems. This one is not. You can just take any verb stem and attach 고 right to the end of it. Where does the period go? Evolving brain, the period. Oh, wait, I got a new member, I think. Hold on. Is that right? Did I get a new member? Yeah, Haley. What's up? I didn't see it, but I didn't see it when it happened, but I see now at the top of the screen. Hey, welcome, Haley. Welcome to the fan club. I mean, the member club. The period, evolving brain asks, where does the period go? Separated by a full stop. Yes. It connects different sentences that could normally be separated by a period. But when you connect them, the period only goes at the end of the sentence because now you have one sentence. So 먹고 가요, the period is at the end of 가요, period. You don't have to have a sentence like 먹고, comma. Oh, that's another thing. Korean has a strange relationship with English punctuation. So all of those English punctuation rules that you know, like use a semicolon for this, use a colon for this, use a comma for this situation, or put the quotes around like that. All those special rules in English, you kind of have to throw them out the window because Korean does not follow standard pronunciation, standard punctuation rules, commas included. Just throw away your commas. Koreans use commas, but they use commas differently than we do in English. So you don't need to use commas. For right now, it's okay to just know that you don't need commas. If you want, in a later episode, I can talk in more detail about how Koreans use punctuation, but it's not like English uses punctuation. Just stick with the period, the question mark, and the exclamation mark, and you'll be fine. These are really the only ones you need for right now. At the end of a sentence, a period. If you're asking a question mark, a question mark, and then an exclamation mark if you're shouting something. That's pretty much all you need for right now. Let's see. We're triggering people who are talking about K-pop. Really? You guys talking about K-pop in the chat? 하고, 빵하고 우유 먹어요. Yes, that's right. That's one of the three ways to say and between a noun is with 하고. And the 하고 also uses this verb connector. So but that's one of them. There are two others, and I have a lesson about all three on my channel, and I'll do something in the future in a live stream. What's your favorite pudding? Jello pudding. K-drama better. 케이크 먹고 우유 마셨어요. Okay, so I'll give some more examples of this, but before I do that, I do want to talk a little bit more about how it can be used at the beginning and the end of a sentence. So at the very beginning of a sentence, this is the beginning of a sentence. This is not the middle. 그리고 means and, or and then, and also, but the meaning of it is just and. So if you want to start a sentence by saying and, you cannot start a sentence by just saying 고. For example, if you wanted to say, and I am handsome, you could say 그리고, and let's see is that visible? Yes, I think you can see that. Okay. Pardon my handwriting. My handwriting in English or Korean is not very good, but it's worse when I'm writing like this, kind of on the side. So, 그리고 제가 잘생겼어요. 잘생겼어요. If you don't know what all these words mean and you're like stressing, you're like, oh, I don't know anything. It's okay. If you don't know it, you don't know it. You simply haven't learned it yet. But focus on just how to use this for right now, and you'll be able to learn these words later. So, 그리고 and I 잘생겼어요. I am handsome. And also, I am handsome. You say, 그리고 제가 잘생겼어요. So this is how you use and at the beginning of a sentence. 그리고. If you're using it in the middle of a sentence to connect two sentences, just 고. And if you're using it at the end of a sentence, this is what we talked about last time also. So if you want a review of that, you can watch the last episode, but I'll do it here again anyway. You can end the sentence with 고, the same way after a verb stem. So you would say 먹고, like eating or whatever it is you want to say. And then if you want, you can attach 요, which I do recommend unless you're talking with your close friend, in which you can remove it. But you would end a sentence with just saying 뭐 하고요, like and I'm doing that, and, but then there's no extra sentence after that. Isn't that past tense? Yes, 잘생겼어요 is a descriptive verb that's used in the past tense, but it's not past tense. This is the present tense. To be handsome. 잘생겼다. Although it's in the past, it's conjugated in the past, but its meaning is for present tense. So you can end a sentence with 고요, and that does two things. In English, you can't. You can't just say, well, 제가 미국 사람이에요. Like, I'm an American. In English, right? You could say, 제가 미국 사람이요. 저는 미국 사람이요. I'm an American. 제가 미국 사람이고요. In English would be, I'm an American, and it's kind of awkward. You can't do that in English, but you can in Korean, which is what I'm trying to explain. I'll go over this. So if you end a sentence with 고, and there's nothing else after that, it means two things. One, it means you're not done yet. Not finished. Not, sorry, this looks like an H. Okay, not, that's really bad. I really have to just redo that. It's so bad. Okay. Not finished. Now I know why those dare people always wrote in capital letters. Okay. Not finished. And then two. So you're basically saying like, hey, well, I'm an American and I'm going to say something else right now, but I'm just pausing for a moment for whatever reason. Maybe I'm waiting for you to say something, but I'm not done. I have more to say, but the sentence is over. This is what it means. So you're not finished. And by doing that, by showing that you're not completely done with your thought, you actually make the sentence softer. I hope you can see all that. I think you should be able to see. Let me see if you can. Yeah, you should be able to see that. Okay, so it makes your sentence softer by using this at the end of a sentence. And we talked about this in the last episode when I covered verb endings. But if you use it at the end, it's basically like saying, hey, I'm not finished with what I'm saying, but what I just said should sound a little bit softer, a little bit nicer, not so direct. I'm not making a hard statement like this is the way it is. I'm just saying, well, I'm an American, kind of like that. And the person listening will hear a little bit of a softer sounding sentence than if you just ended it with 제가 미국 사람이에요. I am an American. It's just very straightforward if you say I'm an American, which nothing wrong with it. But what if you wanted to say, what if someone asked you, like, hey, do you know what foreigners, like if a Korean person asks you, do you know what Americans think about this political issue, right? You could say, oh, Americans hate that. Americans don't like that, or Americans love that. Then the Korean person says, oh, are you sure? Are you sure about that? Are you sure that Americans really like that? You can say, if you were to say, 제가 미국 사람이에요. Hey, I'm an American. That's kind of direct, I think. I mean, you could say it, but it's like, well, I'm an American. And then he says, oh, okay, I see, sorry. You're an American, you would know, right? But if you were to instead say, 제가 미국 사람이고요, you'd be like saying, well, you see, I'm an American. But it would sound a little bit softer. It would sound a little bit better because you're not directly just saying, I'm an American, the end. You're saying, well, I'm an American, And I'm probably going to tell you something else about that. Like, but don't worry, but this is just my opinion. But that's just what I think. That's what I heard. Something like that could conceivably come after the sentence that you've just made. And the person listening will hear that as a little bit softer than if you had just ended your sentence. So that's what it does. But anyway, we're not here to talk about verb endings. I just wanted to cover that again. This means and when connecting a sentence. It means and if you use it as 그리고 at the beginning of a sentence, it has to be as 그리고, or when a phrase like that. You can't just use 고 by itself at the beginning of a sentence. So make sure, okay, I did that. Now, I'd like to do some more example sentences with this to make sure that I can illustrate how it's used. But first, let me just look at the chat for a second. So it kind of works like a semicolon. Yeah, kind of works like a semicolon. Although the form we'll learn, the te form that we'll learn at the end of this lesson, well, the third form we'll use, this is more like the semicolon. This one's much more like the semicolon, and you'll see why. But yeah, it's kind of like saying, hey, I'm not done with my sentence. nundae. Yeah, we'll learn about the nundae. We'll learn about that as well in today's lesson. That's one of the 3 forms we're covering. This is just the first one. Past and present at the same time. Okay, so someone asked, I'll answer this before I keep going. Someone's asking about 잘생겼어요. How can 잘생겼어요 mean to be handsome when it's in the past tense? Okay, first of all, I'll tell you what 잘생기다 means, and if I tell you what 잘생기다 means literally, it might make more sense. So this is one word. There are no spaces. 잘생기다. Some people might write it with a space because they think 잘, well, 잘 is an adverb, and 잘 means well, like 잘했어요, good job. But actually, it does mean well, but it's a combination of the adverb well together with the verb 생기다, which means to occur, or you can think of this more like to appear. Someone appears physically very well. You physically appear very well. You have a very well appeared physical appearance, if that makes sense. So it's been combined into one word. Now, 생기다, this whole thing, 잘생기다, is a descriptive verb, which means it's an adjective. So you can say 잘생긴, so we put 잘 there. You can say 잘생긴 남자, a handsome guy. 잘생긴 여자. Actually, you wouldn't really say 잘생긴 여자 because it's not used for women very much. But 잘생긴 남자, so a handsome guy. 잘생긴 사람, a handsome person. It's an adjective. It's not an action verb. However, 생기다 is an action verb by itself. 생기다 is an action verb. Sorry, this is more detail than you probably need if you're asking this question. So this is really just for people who are intermediate speakers, because I think this is useless information for anyone who's just learning the word. Just learn 잘생기다 means to be handsome, and it's in the past tense. Okay, so 생기다 is an action verb, which means if you wanted to say an action verb, if you wanted to make an action verb describe something, for example, the person who eats, 먹는 사람, the person who does, 하는 사람, you have to change this into either present tense or past tense. Now, saying 잘생기는 사람 would mean something like a person who is appearing very well, but what they're trying to say is a person who appeared, who had a good appearance. So it's conjugated to the past tense. So that's the overly complicated explanation for why 잘생기다 is conjugated in the past tense always, when it means in English to be handsome, because it actually originally means to occur well. So you're saying he occurred, his face occurred, his face appeared very well. He was very handsome. Because he appeared well, he is handsome. That's the way that it's used. But you don't need to know that. So if you're saying that's very confusing, Billy, why do I need to know that? You don't need to know that at all. You do not need to know that. Just some people are curious. Like me, I was very curious about that. So back to this, back to Go. Actually, I want the black marker. Let me just check the chat really quick. It's like broken or well-formed. Yes, it's well-formed. It's another way. 잘생긴, adjective. You could just, if you wanted to say handsome in the past tense, you could also use the same past tense that you would for the future tense. You would say 잘생겼지만, he is handsome, but, and then you would finish your sentence by using the past tense after that. this is a bit confusing, but about finishing your sentence with using the past tense, but using this in the present tense is actually part of this, which I'm going to explain next. So hopefully hold on to that, and it might make a little bit more sense once I've finished teaching about this. So first, I want to do some more example sentences. So we can have something like, I go to the store. Oh, say, I want to go to the store and buy milk. I want to go to the store and buy milk. Think about that. Try to write it in the chat. I'm going to write it up here in just a second. So I want to go to the store and buy milk using this form, using our cool form. I want to go to the store and buy milk. How do you think you would say that? I want to, no, that's not how you say it, cockatiel. It's fine. If you can't do it, don't worry. I'm gonna show you how to do it. But if you'd like to practice it first, feel free and I'll check the chat. 설명 너무 잘해요. Oh, thank you. What's milk? Milk is uyu. Anyway, so I want to go to the store and buy milk. 나는 우유 사러 갈 거예요. I'm going to buy milk. Okay. So I want to go to the store and buy milk. You say 저는. I recommend using 저는 and not 나는 in all cases except with close friends, which is why I usually recommend just using 저는, period. Because if you're talking Korean with your close friends, you can use whatever you want. But if you're not talking with your closest friends, which is most of the time, it's best to be polite. So 저는 가게에. This is not the most natural Korean sentence because we're trying to push it into the confines of this form. And the sentence, I want to go to the store and buy milk, sounds like a sentence that would come out of a textbook anyway. So this is just for demonstration purposes to show you how the grammar works. As you get further, I'll give you some more examples that sound more, more like a Korean would say it. But the reason I usually don't like giving those right away is because they can bring up other questions, like why did you use that form, or how do I use that word, or why did you contract that word like that? Because it's more natural. But I'm giving you examples that at least grammatically correct and not unnaturally will use these forms that I'm teaching. So 저는 가게에 가요 would be the first sentence, right? I go to the store. And then the second sentence would be 우유, which is milk. 우유를 사고 싶어요. Sorry, I wrote the cool really weird. Let me do that again. 사고 싶어요. Okay, so we have 우유를 사고 싶어요. I want to buy milk. And we have 가게에 가요. Or 가게에 가고 싶어요. I want to go to the store. So basically, I want to go to the store. I want to buy milk. We want to combine these two sentences together. And to do that, we have to take one verb, get the verb stem, and attach cool somewhere. So where do we attach cool? What verb needs to be changed using cool in order to combine these two sentences together? 슈퍼에 가서? Yes, 가서 is actually a different sentence connector. 서. We'll do this next time because this is another big one to talk about. That's the more natural way to say it. But this is just for grammatical purposes, I'd like to show it this way first. 가게 가고 우유를 사고 싶어요. Yes. I buy liquid cheese? That sounds disgusting. You mean milk? Sabrina Aziz wrote the two sentences combined, but it's not 싶어고. Remember what I said before, that you have to get the verb stem. If the verb stem ends, the original verb has to end in ta first before you can just get the stem. If what you're taking and then removing the end is not ta, if that's not ta, it's wrong. You got the wrong word. So you cannot go from, for example, I think this is this is pretty low if I write here. Okay, if you have like 싶어요 and you want to get the 고 form, you cannot use this. It's wrong already. If you try to remove any part of it, you're going to be wrong. You have to get back to the original, which is 싶다. You have to get to a part that ends in 다. Although not every time that ends in 다 is going to be the verb stem. But you have to get back to the 다 form, 싶다. If it doesn't end in 다, you cannot just use it. You cannot just chop off parts and use it. It will be wrong every time. Once you get back to the form that has 다 at the end, then you can remove the 다, and then you can add the 고. So if you're writing an example for yourself, and you're thinking, oh, let me just change this sentence into this, let me remove the end. If that part you removed is 다, you're good. If the part you removed is not 다, you are not good. So stop before you keep going. So for this one, we want to remove, a couple people I saw wrote it in the chat, we have 가요. So 가요 is already conjugated though. So we need to go back to the original verb stem. 가요 means go. So the verb for to go is 가다. The original verb for to go is 가다. 가요 just so happens to have ka at the beginning of it. So people might think, oh, I just removed the yo, right? It works here. Why doesn't it work there? Well, because ka has a specific conjugation. Ka actually originally is not kayo. Ka is originally kaayo. But it gets shortened for convenience. So that's why it might seem like you can remove the yo to get the verb stem, but it's incorrect. So in this case, though, 가다 is the verb for to go. And we can replace the 다 with 고. So we have 가게, 가고. This isn't the most natural way to say it, but we'll talk about that next lesson. 우유를 사고 싶어요. I want to go to the store, or I'll go to the store and I want to buy milk. You could also say, like I mentioned before, or 가고 싶다. Like I want to go. 가고 싶어요. In which case you get 가고 싶고. Sorry, it's hideous handwriting, but hopefully it should be legible. 저는 가게에 가고 싶고 우유를 사고 싶어요. This is a bit kind of repetitive because you're saying I want to go to the store and I want to buy milk. But grammatically you're fine. And if you understand just the usage of it, although the grammar, it's a bit repetitive in English too, you're fine because it's always used in the exact same way, just to connect two sentences with and. Let me check the chat. Yes, 저는 우유를 사러 가게 가고 싶어요. That's much better, William Kelly. Although it's not using the form here, but yes, that's another natural way you can say it. 가고 싶고 우유를? Yep. 하고. 하고 is different. 하고 is connecting nouns together. As I mentioned that about maybe 10 minutes ago. But 하고 is for connecting. If you see 하고, well, you can have 하고 for a verb if you have the verb 하다, like 게임을 하고, play games and. But if you're just seeing 하고 randomly in a sentence, it's not this. It's part of a different particle that means and when connecting nouns. And we're not going to be covering all of the ways to say and in this lesson because that would be a totally different topic. So let's do one more example actually using 하고 because someone mentioned 하고. 하고 actually, we can use 하고 with the verb 하다. 하다. Just like as our first example when I explained how to conjugate this. 하다 just becomes 하고. So let's say something like, I'm going to play, I'll play games, I will play games and meet my friend. I'll play games, let me just write it here, and meet my 친구. I'll play games and meet my 친구. So I wrote 친구 because there's no space to write friends. So I'll play games and meet my 친구. Try to write this one. And I'll write it here, but go ahead and start writing and I'll check. Oh, you didn't understand the sentence when you wrote, well, 가고 싶다 is the normal form for saying something that you want. Or sorry, 가고 싶다, no, but just the 고 싶다 part. You take the verb stem and you attach 고 and then 싶다 at the end. This is how you say you want to do something. So 가고 싶다, I want to go. And this is conjugated. The 싶다 at the end is conjugated because if you don't do anything with it, you can't use it. So you could say 싶어요, 가고 싶어요, 하고 싶어요, I want to do it. 놀고 싶어요, I want to hang out. 보고 싶어요, I miss you, I want to see you. And like that. So that's what this form is for. And if you still don't get it, I have a video on my channel that explains how to say want to, which you can search for. Okay, so I'll play games and meet my 친구. 친구's friend, game is game. Hey 친구스. 친구들 만나고 같이 게임하고 싶어요. Well, yeah, that's fine. It doesn't mean exactly what I wrote, which says I will play games, but yeah, that's fine. I want to. Jay-Z the coolest. I can't read that. But I would recommend watching my Learn Hangul video. It's 90 minutes long, and by the time you finish it, and then watch my 5-minute video on how to type in Korean. But once you watch that, you'll be able to follow with the lesson completely next time. Because unfortunately, romanization is terrible. I mean, just in general, it's really difficult to read. It's not accurate. Gamer, not gamer 놀고. The thing is, play games is not gamer 놀다, as someone had written in chat. It's gamer 하다. So I should let you know that because you might not know that verb. 놀다 means to hang out or to play. It doesn't mean to play an instrument or to play a game. It only means 놀다 by itself. You play, you can 놀다, but you cannot 놀다 something. You can't hang out something. So imagine that 놀다 means to hang out, and you'll be able to avoid that mistake. So you say 저는 gamer, well, 게임하고 meet my friend. 친구를 만날 거예요. Sorry, I really need to do cleaner writing for this, but that's what it is. 저는, I'll just remove this. You can figure, it could be 저는 at the beginning. 게임하고 친구를 만날 거예요. So here we have 하고, because 게임하다 means to play games. Literally means to do games, or to game, actually. But here it's 게임하고, play games, and 친구를 만날 거예요. I'll play games and meet my friend. If you notice something, it's different than how English will do it. Because in English, we say, I will play games and meet my friend. Or you could also say in English, well, let me just clean this up a little. I'll play games and I'll meet my friend, right? You could also say, I'll play games and I'll meet my friend. And it sounds perfectly natural in English. Not in Korean. In Korean, it sounds unnatural and awkward to repeat what you're going to do, to repeat the grammar, the tense, future tense, past tense, whatever, of what you're going to do. It's more natural to make the part of your sentence before 고. This is the next thing I wanted to talk about. The part of your sentence that's before this connector 고 should be only present tense. I'll just write PT. Should be only present tense. Unless you really need to emphasize something, you should only use present tense before 고 when connecting the sentences. The tense that you want to show in your sentence needs to be after the 고. So here in the sentence, I'll play games and I'll meet my friend. In English, we could say it, I'll play games and I'll meet my friend. But in Korean, they would only say, I play games, present, and I will meet my friend, future. Notice that. 게임하고, there's no future tense here. It's just 하고, just present tense, 하다, followed by 친구를 만날 거예요, future tense. The 만날 거예요 part is the future tense part. So we have 게임하고 친구를 만날 거예요, or 친구를 볼 거예요, I'll see my friend, or whatever you want to say. This is not just this sentence, this is every sentence that uses the connector 고. And this is what a lot of people forget, or a lot of people look over when they're teaching this form, or including myself, when I made my first video that teaches this form, I don't think I included that information in it either, because at that time, I didn't really realize that. I mean, I would use it that way, but I didn't really think that that was actually a thing. I didn't realize that. But then later, after making that video, I realized, oh no, I should have mentioned this too, that when you use cool, the part before cool doesn't need to be conjugated to a specific tense. You can do it. You can say, 게임 할 거고, I will play games and, for example, let me write that up. I'm just going to clear the 그리고, I'm going to clear this other information here because I'm running out of space to write. Okay. 할 거고, well, 할 것이고, I'll write it this way so it's easier. Because 할 것이다 is the one in the future tense. So you could say, 게임 할 것이고, or 게임 할 거고 is how they'd probably just say it. They'd combine 것이고 into just 거고. 친구를 만날 거예요. But that would be like saying, I'm going to play games and I'm going to meet my friend. And in English, that would sound very repetitive. And that's what it is in Korean too. It's not necessary to repeat it twice. In English, we also just say, I'll play games and meet my friend. Although you could say, I will, but you don't need to. I'll play games and meet my friend. English also typically will just prefer one part of the sentence to use the tense. But in past tense, English doesn't. It would say, like, if you wanted to make this past tense, you would say, I played games and met. You still have to make it past tense in English. So it's not quite the same as how English works. But just trying to illustrate that English also doesn't like repetitiveness. In Korean, though, if you're doing the past tense, it would be the same thing. So let me show you now. So now I've showed you with 게임하고 친구를 만날 거예요. I'll play games and I will meet my friend. But if we want to do past tense, we don't have to do too much to our sentence. So I'll show you. So we have 게임하고. What if we want to say, I played games, right? I played games and met my friend. All we have to do, and this is the easy part, all we have to do is change the past tense of meet at the end of our sentence. Wow, that's really bad. I swear I spend like an hour of every 2-hour lesson just like commenting on how bad my writing is. Okay, so we have 게임하고 친구를 만났어요. I played games, or literally, I play games and friend I met. In Korean, this means I played games and met my friend. There is no necessity, no requirement that you have to conjugate the first part of the sentence before 고 into the same tense as the ending. And in fact, doing so would make this sentence more unnatural. I'm just going to read the chat for a minute. 게임을 하고 친구를 만났어요. Yes, that's right. Phil Carpenter. Please notice me, senpai. What are you teaching us next? Next time will be other sentence connectors that I'm not covering this time. Oh, hey, Oro the Nymph. Oh, sweet. I see someone else commented something. So the ending tense carries over. That's right. The ending tense will carry over. So if you were to say, so I want to clarify this. You do not, from here on, you do not need this information if you're still a beginner. I'm just going to explain one more point that you do not need if you're a beginner. If you wanted to say, 게임 했고, right? Now you have the past tense. I played games. 게임 했고, 친구를 만났어요. You can, grammatically, which is why a lot of people get away with doing it. And Koreans will not tell you that you're wrong. If you ask a Korean to correct please correct my sentence if I am making any mistakes. If you ask a tutor, they might know. But they would say, oh yeah, it's fine. I mean, a little unnatural, I would say, and they would say something completely different. But it's grammatically correct. The problem is it sounds repetitive and it sounds like you're trying to emphasize that you had played games. You really want them to know that you're not playing games right now, that you did play games. Well, I did play that game. 게임을 했고, I played that game. And then I met my friend. There's no reason that you need to emphasize the past tense of every form in your verb. So That's why. You don't need to do it, but you could if you really wanted to emphasize that it was the past tense. Perhaps there's like misunderstanding. Your friend says, what did you do yesterday? 숙제를 했고 친구를 만났어요. That's kind of okay because you're saying, well, I did all my homework and so don't worry about it. I did it all and then I met my friend. You know, because you might have said something if I said 숙제를 하고. If I said 숙제를 하고, you might think maybe I'm not all done with it. So I really want you to know that I'm done with it. Like something like that, you could do it. Otherwise, you don't need to do it. So just the last verb in the sentence. Same with future tense as well. You don't need to say, I will play outside and then I will go shopping. You just say, I play outside and I will go shopping, which means I will play outside and I will go shopping. So I would like give up because you're doing what I can, confusing the heck out of people. Yeah, so you don't need that though if you're a beginner, like I said. The problem with a lot of Korean, and you know, I think there's a lot of resources out there, not the majority, but there are some resources that I've seen, random like blog posts or random videos sometimes, that try to make Korean seem like it's really simple. Like Korean can be simple. There are parts of Korean that are simple. And if you learn Korean slowly, it's certainly not crazy difficult. But there's also a problem of oversimplifying Korean. Like some resources might say like, oh, you just do this and that's it. You're done. And that's it. Like, but the truth of it is that's not really it. And I think that people, while a beginner doesn't need to learn every detail of information about this form, a beginner only needs to know, take a verb stem, attach cool, and it's and. That's it. But if I did that for a live stream, no one would watch because you already know that. Or if you don't know that, you can learn that on any video on the internet. But then the problem is the beginner later on sees 하고, 그리고. They see a 고 at the end. Like, what is this? My teacher taught me wrong. My teacher told me that it only means this. So I must be dumb. I must be too stupid to understand it. Korean's too hard. I think it's about managing expectations. That I really want you guys to know that Korean is not crazy hard, but Korean is also not incredibly simple. So anyone who tells you like Korean is super easy to learn might not understand the whole picture. And then anyone who tells you Korean is too difficult to learn also might not quite understand the whole picture. There are lots of things you can learn about Korean or English or any language if you go into detail. But the basics of the language are, well, this form has lots of little pieces that you can learn separately and practice. So don't feel overwhelmed by it. Learn it in pieces. If at any point in the lesson you thought, oh, I'm totally lost now, that's as far as you need to go. That's as far as you need to go with the lesson. You can skip to the next concept because you don't need to overwhelm your brain and tell yourself you're stupid or you can't learn it, because that's not true. Nobody would learn everything about this form the first time they see it. Nobody would be smart enough. Seriously, nobody is smart enough to learn Korean in like 2 months or 3 months or just watching, videos really quickly. You can't. It's not possible. I've never met anybody who's learned Korean that fast or who could immediately learn something the first time. Maybe another language, not Korean. So if you got to a part in the lesson, you're like, oh, I don't understand what Billy's talking about right now. That's fine. That means that's all you've learned so far. Don't beat yourself up. Just next time, come back to this, watch a little bit further, then come back, watch a little bit further. And then you'll get a lot more out of the lesson because I'm kind of gearing this toward people who are at low beginner all the way up to maybe low, mid, intermediate. So there will be things in here that you don't know yet if you're still a beginner. That's all I wanted to say. Don't beat yourself up. Korean is easy and Korean is hard, but you can do it. I'm not especially talented at languages. I just really like Korean, but anybody can get better than me at Korean if you study to do it. So that's all I want to say. No idea what you're talking about. Yes, that's as far as you need to worry about. Okay, sorry. This is why last time I covered 7 forms. This is why this time I only chose to cover 3 forms because there's too much to talk about. The next form is very simple. The next form only has 2 things we have to learn about it. But To say but, so you can connect two sentences like we have the other sentence. I want to go to the store, but you wouldn't say I want to go to the store, but I want to buy milk. Okay, I want to play. 놀고 싶어요. So the verb 놀다 means to play or hang out. So 놀고 싶어요. But I have to go to the store. Okay? I'll say 슈퍼. 가게 is not as common. Okay. 슈퍼. Supermarket. 슈퍼. 슈퍼에 가야. If you don't know this form, have to. I'll cover it in a future live stream, but I have a lesson about it in my channel that goes into detail. 가야 돼요. So we have 놀고 싶어요. 슈퍼에 가야 돼요. So I want to hang out and play, but we're going to put but here. Oh no. Ugh. Okay, got it. I want to play, but I have to go to the store. So this form works just like cool as far as conjugation, but using it is much simpler than cool. So we just take a verb stem. So remember we have 하다 becomes just 하. You simply remove the 다 at the end of the verb, and you just plus 지만 to the end. That's it. Nothing else. These forms are pretty easy to work with. And someone already wrote the answer. 뭐, All right, 저는 놀고 싶지만 가게에 가야 돼요. Okay, you wrote 가게, that's fine too. 가게 means store. 슈퍼 is supermarket. We might usually say, I need to go to the store. In English, in Korean, you can use 슈퍼 if it's the supermarket, or 가게 is just a store, a general store. 더 긴 마이크? 코드? Yeah, this microphone is not intended to be used from like a mile away, like I'm doing right now with my camera. 지만 versus nundae. We'll do that. Nundae is the next part we're going to do. And I'll make this short because I only want to go 1 more hour maximum. We've already been going for 1 hour. Just to cover the goal form. It's got a lot of stuff. This one's not that complicated. This is not as complicated as cool. Doesn't have as much to it. So, 놀고 싶지만, I want to play, but 슈퍼에 가야 돼요. I want to play, but I have to go to the store. I have to go to the supermarket. This is all it is, really. Take the verb stem, attach 지만, you're done. But, there's always a but. What if you want to use this form at the beginning of a sentence, right? So you want to say, but I don't have time. But I don't have any money. But I don't want to go. Something like that, right? Well, it's easy. You take a new word, similar to how we used 그리고 at the beginning of a sentence. You used 하지만. 하지만. 하지만 means but, and it can only be used at the beginning of a sentence. It cannot be used randomly in the middle of a sentence. It cannot be used at the end of a sentence. It is but at the beginning of a sentence. And there are other ways to say but at the beginning of a sentence, but this lesson isn't about how to say and in Korean and how to say but in Korean. It's just about sentence connectors, and this just so happens to mean but. So I'll keep it at this one, though there are other ways to say however, nevertheless, irregardlessly, still, yet, and yet. There's lots of ways in English, there's lots of ways in Korean. So 하지만 is the most standard way to just say but. So you might want to say, let's do this sentence. I like you. Now let's not do you because they'll have to go in a whole nother lesson about that. I like kimchi. Okay. But I dislike. What would you dislike if you like kimchi? I dislike. I've been doing it all wrong. 하지만은 그렇지만. Oh, wait, I don't have time to cover all the different ways to say but in this lesson. 당신을 좋아해요. 김밥. Okay, 김밥. 홍어. Yeah. Okay, 김밥. Okay, I like kimchi, but I dislike kimbap. Feel free to write it yourself in the chat. I use it a lot mid-sentence. Yeah. Oh, 하지만, yeah, you shouldn't use 하지만 in the middle of a sentence. If you see it appear in the middle of a sentence by a Korean, it actually means it's the beginning of a sentence. So they might have just not used a period before it, but it's the beginning of a new statement. If you say 하지만, where did I go? Oh yeah, here, 하지만. It's the beginning of a new sentence. So let's say I like kimchi, but I dislike kimbap. So you can try to make it, I'm going to give you some hints. First, to say like in Korean, you use the verb 좋아하다. 좋아하다. The verb is not 좋아해요, which is some people might learn the phrase 좋아해요. That's not the verb though. That's how it can be conjugated. So you have 좋아하다 is to like, and dislike would be 싫어하다, or you can say 좋아하지 않다, like just don't like is okay too. But we're just going to use 싫어하다 for this example. 싫어하다. So we have 좋아하다 and we have 싫어하다. So I like kimchi. I'm going to write it up here so I have more room. I like kimchi, but I dislike kimbap. I don't know how that's possible, but you know, it's our example sentence and we're going with it. So 저는, let's first start with just 저는. So we have 저는, I, 김치, 김치를 좋아하. Remember, we stick the 지만 directly onto the verb stem. So 좋아하다, we just remove the da, and now we have the verb stem. 좋아하지만. So now we have I like kimchi, but. 저는 좋아하지만. I like kimchi, but. And then we can just finish it. 김밥을 싫어해요. Like I'm trying to write quickly, but also so that you can read it at the same time. And I think it's just making this garbled mess. So I like kimchi. 저는 김치를 좋아하지만 김밥을 싫어해요. I like kimchi, but I dislike kimbap. And if we wanted to say, again with 하지만, if we wanted to say just, for example, 저는 김치를 좋아해요. I like kimchi. 김치를 정말 좋아해요. I really like kimchi. I really do like kimchi. I made kimchi just last week. It turned out really good. Say, 저는 김치를 진짜 좋아해요. I really love kimchi. 하지만 김밥을 싫어해요. But I don't like kimbap. Notice there, but 하지만 is now the start of a new sentence. It's no longer connecting the two sentences together. So that's kind of to show you that you can use 지만 in the middle of a sentence to connect them with 지만, or at the beginning of a sentence with 하지만. But you can't say something like this. 저는 김치를 좋아해요 하지만. That's really weird. You can't stick it directly onto a sentence. It needs a little bit of breathing room. If you're not going to give it that breathing room, just stick it in the middle of a sentence, because it really does mean new sentence here, new statement here. You know, it can be related, but it does mean you're starting a new sentence. I don't like kimchi. It makes me sick. Oh no, that's so sad. But yeah, you know, some people don't like it. I'd say probably 99%, over 99% of Korean people like kimchi. But you know, there are still a lot of people who don't. 좋아하다 can we use? 마음에 들다. Not 마음에 들어가다, just 마음에 들다. Yes, you can say 김치 마음에 들지만. I like kimchi, but 김치는 마음에 들지만. You can say any way you want, pretty much. 진짜 싫다, I hate kimbap, or 마음에 들지 않아요, you know, I don't like it. 마음에 안 들어요, probably what they'd say more naturally. But yeah, if you want, you can also say 마음에 들다, which means to like something. 마음에 들어? 김치 마음에 들어? 김치를 좋아하지만 김밥은 별로 마음에 안 들어. You could say it like, combine it like that. Like, oh, I really like kimchi, but I just don't like kimbap. You can combine it any way you want like that. 그러나 or 하지만 sound more, 하지만 is more common. And I'm not going to cover all the ways to say but. Like I mentioned, that would take too long. That would take a whole hour of this stream to do if I took questions on how to do that. I love spicy food. Okay, let's do one more example, one more sentence, because I want to do a few more practice sentences than I was able to do last time, just due to time. Last time I overplanned. I was too excited last time, so I taught 7 different verb endings. But as a result, we only had time for like 10, 15 minutes each one, so I couldn't really do enough example sentences. Let's see, we have time for one more example sentence for this one. Okay, Simon, let's see. It's spicy. No, let's keep with kimchi because I like kimchi. Let's say kimchi is spicy but delicious. But delicious. And I'm writing delicious, though I know in English that we don't really say delicious too much. Hey, new member, Ocean Discovery. Hey, welcome, thanks. Thanks for the membership. GG Ocean. Ocean man. Okay, kimchi is spicy but delicious. So I know you don't really say delicious very much in English. We usually just say good. But I'm saying delicious here because if I say just good, it doesn't sound natural. Koreans will use the word 맛있다. I'll just write it here. 맛있다, which means, literally it has flavor or it is delicious. But in English, we typically just say good. But if you think about good, 좋아요, in Korean, it just sounds awkward. Like, what is good about kimchi? It means like you like it, I guess. But I say it tastes good. So 맛있다. So anyway, kimchi is spicy, and spicy is the descriptive verb, 맵다. So we want to say kimchi is spicy but delicious. And we're going to be using our form here because we have the word but. And it's connecting these two sentences. You could separately say, kimchi is spicy, kimchi is delicious, right? You can connect them like that. I mean, not connect them like that. Just say kimchi is spicy, kimchi is delicious. But we're connecting them now with kimchi is spicy but delicious. And we already learned this, but you could also just connect it in the exact same way simply by changing jiman to go, and you can say kimchi is spicy and delicious. So go ahead and try to write that in chat, and I'm going to start writing it over here in just a minute. Can you save this live? Yes, this will be saved live. Yeah, it'll get uploaded. Sweet. Discovery. Nice. 김치는 맵지만 맛있어요. Yes. 김치가 매우지만 nope. Remember, the verb for to be spicy is 맵다. If you're already conjugating it to 매워요, then you're already wrong. You have to stop. Take it easy. You've had enough. You got to stop. Stop where you are. Go back. Get the form that ends in 다. Get the form that finishes with 다. Then you can make this. Same with the go form. So if you have 매워요, you cannot do this. You have to go back to 맵다. So you can have, and that's not, I don't mean to be like talking down to you when I'm saying that. I'm just trying to really enforce it. Like, that's not the right word. I'm trying to really make it clear that if you have something that has yo at the end or some other syllable at the end, that's not 다, that's not this original form, then you cannot use that for conjugation. It's going to hurt you. It's going to make you more confused. So before you think about conjugating a verb, make sure, ask yourself, is this the original verb? Like, is this the verb that I would find in the dictionary if I were to search spicy, right? If you search spicy, you would get this one, 맵다, and possibly a few other ones too. But this is the one you want to start with, and then you can do it. If you start with something that already has conjugation like 좋아해요 or 싫어요 or 좋아요 or anything 좋아, that's not what you want. So just stop before you continue going, because if you make a sentence like that, there's a good chance that the Korean won't even know what you're trying to say. I'll know what you're trying to say because, I've made those mistakes too. I made the same mistakes when I was learning Korean. But a Korean person might not, depending on what it is. So we have 김치는, or 김치가, whatever you want to say. 김치는 맵다. So we have 맵다. 지만, all we do is remove the 다 at the end. And we're left with 김치 맵지만 맛있어요. 김치는 맵지만 맛있어요. Kimchi is spicy. Kimchi should be spicy. I know there's some like non-spicy versions, but no, should be spicy. 김치는 맵지만 맛있어요. Or I mentioned we could also rewrite this sentence with our and. So kimchi is spicy and it's good. So once again, we go back to our verb stem. 맵다. To be spicy. Now we can remove the verb ending. In this case, it works the same for 지만 and 고. Now we can have 김치는 맵고 맛있어요. And this is another good sentence. Kimchi is spicy and good. Also makes perfect sense. All right, I'm going to look at the chat for a minute, and then we're going to go into our final form for today, which is actually the longest one, so I'll try to make it quick. That's a spicy meatball. The thing you were saying about the tense only at the end? Oh, I'm not going to rewrite it, but if you watch this stream, it'll be on the channel, so you can find that part again. All of this is being recorded, and it'll be on the channel as soon as it's finished. Oh, you got my book. Thanks, Beth. How do I say Bethan? Bethan Evans. Cool. So you can't use with descriptive verbs. That's correct. Someone must have said that in chat. That's correct. Yeah, you cannot use descriptive verbs with the or le. This is called the object marker if something is doing something to a noun, and it can only be used with action verbs. Only action verbs. AV. That's not, whatever, I shouldn't use that. It should only be used with action verbs. It cannot be used with a descriptive verb because you cannot spicy something. Like, you cannot spicy your kimchi. That doesn't make any sense. Spicy is a descriptive verb or adjective, if you want to think of it, not an action verb. But you could make it spicy, but you cannot just spicy it. So that's why you cannot use object marker with descriptive verb. Someone was asking about that in the chat. Kimchi, 대단하지만. Ocean Discovery. Billy. Billy. Oh, and then my name. I shouldn't write my own name in red. Oh yeah, that's one thing. You never want to write somebody's name in Korean in red. It kind of means that you hope that they'll die because they'll write things like, not obituaries, but like on tombstones or statues, they'll write people's names using red. This is South Korea, not North Korea. North Korea, it's good. South Korea, it's bad. Do not write someone's name in red. It means like you kind of want them to die. So, my name in Korean, Billy. 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 Like that. Not Billy. Although if you write Billy, I'll know what you're trying to say. So yeah, Billy. Okay, so next form, which is, I think, the hardest one. Not because it's so complicated, but because it's not as necessary if you know these two forms as a beginner to use the other form that we're going to learn right now. Although it's extremely important, it's extremely useful, its meaning can be covered by the other forms. So this one is 대. This one has several conjugation rules, so I'll try to make this as fast as possible. First, what kind of verb are you conjugating? Actually, before this, first, if you are a beginner and you've never heard nundae, like 좋아하는데, 없는데, 가는데, 인데, if you've never heard that before, don't even try this yet because it will confuse you a lot. Or if you want to try it anyway, just understand that this form is a very commonly used one and you are going to see it all the time in Korean. It's simple yet complicated. It's complicated because there are many, many simple things to learn about it. Mainly, I would say, really the most complicated thing about this is just how to conjugate it. Really. I've seen more improperly conjugated sentences with this form than I have with any other Korean form I can think about. Yeah, maybe just as much as people have messed up conjugating the yo form, I've seen this one misconjugated too. So don't worry about it. Let's go into it though. First, look at the type of verb you're doing. If you have an action verb or a descriptive verb, by that I mean, is the verb doing something? Like 살다, to live, 먹다, to eat. It's an action verb. Is it describing something? Handsome, pretty, green. It's a descriptive verb. So for action verbs, you take the verb stem. Take the verb stem. I'm just writing VS for verb stem. Verb stem. Actually, no, I'll just write stem in case someone misses this little part. Then they're wondering what it means. You just take the stem and you attach nundae. Now, this is present tense that we're talking about right now. The other tenses aren't so difficult, but we'll just talk about this one first. So for present tense, like I do something, I am something. Not for past tense, like I did something. So you have an action verb, you take the stem and you attach nundae. So you can have, 가다, to go. You take the verb stem, you remove the ta, and you just have ka, then you attach nundae. And you're done. You have 먹다, to eat. You go to 먹는데. This isn't it though. It's not the only conjugation rules you have to learn. Unfortunately, if you have a verb stem that ends in a lir, a hiat, I won't say a piat because that's different. Just if you have a lir or a hiat, these two letters at the bottom, this one being the most common, you have to remove them before you conjugate this form, if it's an action verb. So we have 살다, to live, or 팔다, to buy. There's a lot of them. Would become 사는데. So we remove this, throw it away, and we're left with just 사는데. Okay, let me take a second to pause, read the chat. We're starting with te. The form is actually te. nundae is just one usage of the form, but the form itself is just te form. They don't like the lir. Yeah, a lot of people don't like the lir. Run late to take my daughter somewhere. All right, take care. Yeah, you can also check out the chat and check out this live stream later. It'll be on my channel. All of these will be free. What about sada? Yes, someone was saying, what about sada? So if you're buying something, sada also becomes the exact same thing. So you're thinking, oh, how will I know? It looks the same. You'll know. You'll know. If you're saying, 한국에서 사는데, you're probably talking about living in Korea. You're probably not talking about buying something in Korea, unless that's what your conversation is about. Like, if someone says, oh, where do you buy those cool toys, those snacks? 아, 저는 이거 한국에서 사는데, I buy this in Korea. Or, where do you live? 한국에서 사는데, I live in Korea. So we'll talk about what this form means after we talk about how to conjugate it. But I'm just trying to let you know that it's not confusing. You will not be confused by if it's 사는데 is living or buying, as well as, in fact, I think this might be the only situation where it would conjugate the exact same way, because 파다, you can have 땅을 파다. There's a couple more verbs that would also have this type of confusion, but you will not be confused when you hear it. So don't worry about that. Anyway, so action verb stems that end with the lir or the hiat, as I mentioned, such as 그렇다. Mainly though, just remember the lir. This one's not as commonly used, but it would be Same thing, you also remove the 히읗. So 그렇다 would become 그러는데. Actually, it depends how you're using it. So I'll just cover this one later. This is kind of more of an exception. You could do 그러는데 or 그런데, depending whether you're using it as an action verb or descriptive verb. So I won't talk about that verb right now. That would be a little bit advanced. So take the stem and attach nundae. If it has a lir, the L at the bottom, remove it, and you're done for present tense, for action verbs. Now let's talk about the fun part, descriptive verbs. Descriptive verbs are not as fun. You have to look at a few things. If it ends with a lir, a piup, or a hiat, or for those of you who are in romanization land, the L, the B, and the H, remove those before doing anything else. This is descriptive verb. So 맵다, as we learned before, to be spicy is a descriptive verb. Describe something like that. Food is spicy. It's not an action verb. You're not spicy. It's just, it is a certain way. It is, or ugly, or tall, or red. Any of those are descriptive verbs. If they end in these three letters, first remove those letters. So let's look at this one first. We have, for example, let me write the lir here as a note so you can remember that it's a special thing. Okay. Because I want some more space to write what I'm going to write. So let's first look at the lir here, the L, and see what we can do with that. So first, let's take the verb. Let's take the descriptive verb 길다. 길다 means to be long. You say like 손가락이 길어요. My fingers are long. So to do that, first, of course, we need to look. Well, first we're going to remove this, obviously. So remove the verb stem, which is what you do for all conjugation. Now we're left with 길. We remove the lir first. Then we attach un if it ends in a consonant, or just a nian, just an n, if it ends in a vowel. So in this case, oh, and then te. So sorry. And then te after that. So for this one, we have ki. Now we attach, it ends in a vowel, e, here. We attach kin, de. And we're done. If it does not end in one of these three, then all you have to do is attach un or nian, te. So we have the verb, which the descriptive verb. This is where it's kind of easier. If it doesn't end in one of these three, all you have to do is, like, let's say, I like the descriptive verb 친절하다, to be nice, to be friendly. 친절하다. So we remove the ta. It doesn't end in one of these, so we don't have to do anything. It's just ha. It ends in a vowel. 친절한데. That's how we do it. Let's take a different one. Let's do 작다, to be small. To be small. To use this, we remove the da. You see there's a kiuk at the bottom. It's not one of these three. So all we do is we add, let's see, it ends in a consonant. The kiuk here is a consonant. So tak, un, de. That's it. So any verb, and most verbs I'd say, I mean descriptive verbs, sorry. Any descriptive verb and most descriptive verbs will probably not need these three rules. So you can just do this. So add the un after a consonant, or a nian after a vowel, followed by te. Let me just check the chat real quick. Oh yeah, Rodrigo Diaz. The nundae, I haven't told you what this form means yet. I'm just covering how to conjugate it. Sorry, I was thinking about doing what it means first, but I felt I should conjugate it first because this takes longer, actually. Let's see, take some rest, dear Billy. I'm confused. Yes, if you're confused, don't worry. It just means you haven't learned this yet. And it's not the simplest of topics. If you've never seen this form before, just focus on the 고 and jiman forms that I taught, the and but ones, and don't worry about this one yet. This was more, I'd say this one's more of a low intermediate or high beginner form. It's not something you have to worry about if you're still new. It would be, it would be useless to you if you're just learning how to say hello and you've just learned the alphabet. This form is useless then. It'll be useful once you've learned some basic vocabulary first, and once you start to see this, you'll see it everywhere. Okay, so let's take another one. Let's do a very common occurrence is the piup, the descriptive verb stems that end in piup. So we have 맵다, as we did before. For to be spicy, so we had spicy kimchi before. 맵다. For the ones that end in the piup, these have a special rule. I'll write it here and I'll explain it. These use an additional syllable to make them. So first of all, we have to remove the verb stem. So we remove the verb stem, we're left with mep. But we can't just say mebunde. That's how a Korean would never say it. Even someone who didn't go to school would not say it like that. So first we got to remove the piup. So now we have me. We do not just say mende. Any verb stem that ends in a piup has one additional step, and that is to add an u. This syllable, this exact syllable, u. I'll write it again. U. Add that syllable. Then finish the rest of the conjugation. So we have me, u, and that's a vowel. So we have me un de. Me un de. Every descriptive verb that ends in the piup, the p, uses this same conjugation. So we have me da becomes me, which becomes me u, then becomes me un de. Now this, you might think, oh, this is worthless. I have to learn, not worthless, but this doesn't make sense. I have to learn this whole crazy new conjugation rule with these types of verbs just so I can use this one Korean this one Korean grammar form. No. Many other grammar forms will also use this exact same u rule. And I'll cover them later. Next week's lesson will also have another grammar form that will need this form. This is a common way that verbs with piup will conjugate. It's also how they conjugate to the regular yo form. You remember? If you know how to conjugate the yo form with piup, with the verbs that have this, you have 맵다, which becomes 매워요, right? This is the exact same thing. First you get 매우, and then you attach the regular 어, which goes at the end of verbs when conjugating, and then 요. And then the uo combines to become wo. It's just, the two vowels just get stuck together. It's the same thing. This type of special conjugation with the u is a common feature of lots of grammar forms that use this piup. Not all, not the ko form and not the jiman form that we learned, but this one does. So that's what makes it a little more complicated, that you have to keep an eye out for this specific consonant. But these three consonants will frequently have exceptions to them. You'll notice that a lot of grammar forms that have lir or the piup or the hiat will not deal with them. They'll just throw them away whenever they're conjugating. So you might think, oh, I have to learn so many million things to learn this one grammar form. That's not really true. You really just have to learn them once. And then when you learn new grammar forms, just know if the grammar form needs those rules or not. Like, oh, this grammar form I need to remove those three again. Oh, those three again. Oh, do I have to add the u? Let's check. Oh, I do. I have to add the u. Okay. That's all you have to do. You only have to learn these once. These three are frequently removed letters. And same with when conjugating the yo form as well. You just have to learn those rules once because they'll appear several times in other grammar forms. And when you see them again, you'll just say, oh, I see. I have to do that thing that I did when I conjugated the yo form again. Oh, I see. Yeah, it's the same thing. It's kind of just like that. Like they'll pop up again and again, and it's not as complicated as it sounds. And I'm speaking for myself as well as I'm sure other Korean learners. We just know how to do these, even if we didn't study them. Now, I studied them, but I know a lot of people who did not study these and can still use them correctly because they've been exposed to them a lot. So if you're worried about it, don't worry about it. You will get it. It's not as crazy as it sounds. And a lot of this will become your intuition. You'll just feel like, oh yeah, that sounds right when you hear something because you've been exposed to it a lot. So I'm just explaining it for you so you can learn it in advance, but ultimately you will get this, you will feel this when you use Korean. So that's how it works. Let's see, am I missing any rules? Yes, okay. Exceptions to this. Oh, okay. Let me get my pen because my microphone wire is like 1 inch long. There are a couple exceptions. The verb 있다 and 없다. Sorry. These are descriptive verbs. So they to exist, 있다, and to not exist, 없다. You know, 맛있다, flavor exists, is what it literally says. 재미없다, humor does not exist. You know, if something's not funny, you could say, 재미없어, 재미없다. So 있다 and 없다 become nundae. Although they're descriptive verbs, they do not become 있은데, they become 있는데, 없는데. And due to sound change rules, these are pronounced as 있는데, like that 있는 and 없는. 있는 and 없는 is how you say it because of sound change rules. So if you're wondering, how do I say 있으는, 없으는? It's not like that, just 없는, 있는. And the sound change rules, I have a video about those if you're curious exactly why that happens. But that's what they do. 없는데, 있는데, 없는데. Billy Go Friends, is there a Kakao group for me? Jose, how many people are in this Kakao group? I didn't know there was one. Billy Go Friends. Oh no, I'll have to add that. 곱다, no. There are exceptions. There are exceptions to verbs that have the piup in them. There are many that are irregular, although most descriptive verbs that end with piup are regular and do not have special conjugation rules. Some of them are irregular, and will not conjugate with this u, such as 곱다. Someone mentioned this you don't have to worry about this. Do not learn this. This word is not used, like it's rarely used, if ever, but it's one that people will often mention when they talk about irregular verbs ending in piup. 곱다 actually becomes kowa, becomes ko. So this would become kounde, but they might use it as kounde mistakenly. So this one becomes kowayo, not kou, kowo. It's kowa. And there's a couple others like that. But the overwhelming majority of descriptive verbs that end in piup will just work exactly like this. So other two exceptions I said, 있다 and 없다 become 있는데 and 없는데. 없는데. Let's see, what else? Oh yeah, so that's it for this part. Let me also mention, I said this is only for present tense. For other tenses, let's say past tense, it's actually easy. If it's past tense, it doesn't matter if it's an action verb or a descriptive verb, or future tense, it doesn't matter if it's action verb or descriptive verb. All you do is you take the stem. So this is other tenses. All you do is you take the stem and you add nundae. Doesn't matter. Action verb, descriptive verb, past tense, future tense, anything. Take the stem. So, for example, if you had 했어요. I haven't even told you what this form means. I know. I just really want to make sure you can conjugate it first. And I'll give you examples of conjugation so you can see along the way. 했어요, right? 했어요. The normal stem of 했어요 is just 했다. It doesn't matter if this 했다 is a action verb, because it could be part of an action verb or it could be part of a descriptive verb. 뭐 심심했다, I was bored, is a descriptive verb. 공부했다 is a action verb, to study. I studied, 공부했다. All you do is you take the verb stem and you attach nundae, 했는데. Doesn't matter if it's action verb or descriptive verb, that's it. Same with future tense. 할 거다. Can you still see down here? 할 거다. You remove the verb stem. 할 거다. 할 건데. That's it. So yeah, other ones, it's just you take the stem. You test nundae. Okay, so I want to go over some example sentences of these forms so you can see more conjugation with them and see how they're used. So first of all, today's lesson is about sentence connectors. nundae is a very useful sentence connector. If you already know the other two sentence connectors we've covered, this might be your favorite one because this one has two main usages. The first usage of this is to contrast. You can contrast two sentences. Now, what does contrasting mean? Well, contrasting means to show that they're different. You can show that two sentences are different from each other. In English, you could do that by saying, but, like, well, let's see. I like cats, but I like dogs. Like, kind of imagine yourself doing this in your head. You're comparing and contrasting two sentences. How is this different than and or but? It's softer. It's the same meaning, pretty much. This is the same meaning as both and but. So now how can something mean both and but at the same time? Or either, it depends on the context. Depending on the context, this might mean and. Depending on the context, it might mean but. But in reality, it doesn't matter. It can be either. Because all it shows is that these two sentences are different. They're not the same sentences. And I'm going to show, and by using this form, you're showing the person that they're different sentences. So you can use this in place of both 고 and 지만, as I've taught before. And, as I mentioned, sounds softer. So this is a soft, I don't need to say softer, but just it's a soft way to contrast. So, for example, if you say, like, well, I'm an American and I like hamburgers. You're just saying directly, 저는 미국 사람이고 I am an American and 햄버거를 좋아해요. And I like hamburgers. Or you could say, 저는 한국 사람이지만 I am a Korean, but 김치를 싫어해요. I dislike kimchi, right? You could say I'm a Korean, but I dislike kimchi. And those show contrast too. If you were to use this form to show contrast, it would be smoother. Well, I'm a Korean and I like kimchi, or I don't like kimchi. I'm a Korean, but I don't like kimchi. In both of these sentences, it pretty much has the same meaning. If you're saying, I'm a Korean and I don't like kimchi, or I'm a Korean, but I don't like kimchi, they can both work. It's not that different from each other to say, well, I'm a Korean and I don't like kimchi. Well, I'm a Korean, but I don't like kimchi. They're kind of similar sounding in English. The reason is because this form does not emphasize and. It's not and this, definitely and this and this. And it's not saying but, like this, but not that, this, right? Because when you say but, you're kind of saying no. Now this. Look at this second sentence here. And when you're saying and, you're saying this one, hold that thought, this one too. You're putting them together, right? When you're saying but, you're just kind of saying here and here, look, they're different. Take these two sentences, put them together however you want. This is what the te or nundae form does, as your people were asking, what is nundae? It's the same thing. So it makes your sentence a little bit softer. So you can stick this as between two sentences to kind of just contrast, to put two sentences together, say like, hey, well, I'm a Korean, but I just like kimchi, kind of a much softer, like that Korg character from Thor Ragnarok. Okay, so then the other purpose that this does, so anyway, it does soft contrast. So the first thing it does is shows contrast. The second thing that this form does is it shows that you're explaining something. This form is very useful when you're explaining something to somebody. Basically, like if you wanted to say, so you see, blah, 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 blah. 저는 한국 사람인데 I'm Korean, but I don't like kimchi. I'm a Korean and I don't like kimchi. Or, so I'm a Korean and I don't like kimchi. Right? You kind of get how it kind of has an explaining tone to it if you start a sentence with saying, so? Like, so the thing is, I'm a Korean, but I don't like kimchi. So the thing is, 제가, I'm going to write the sentence here. 한국 사람인데, which comes from 이다, to be. Right? 이다 to be is a descriptive verb, so we remove the 다. It ends in a vowel, so we add just this letter, 은데. So now we have 인데. That's all it is, just 이다 to be. So we have 제가 한국 사람인데, 김치를, what am I writing? 김치를 싫어해요. 싫어해요. Let me look at the chat for a moment. I haven't looked at the chat in like 5 minutes. Some young Korean people don't like kimchi. Yeah, sure. I mean, you could not like kimchi. I just think it's rare. I haven't met any Koreans that would tell me they dislike it, but I have heard that they exist. Some Koreans have told me that they don't like it that much, but they still like it. Like some Koreans have said, oh, I kind of like kimchi, but not too much. But I haven't met anyone who says they really dislike it yet, though I've heard there are. Similar words and things in Korean. Totally try not to keep this live stream guy going. I don't want to go off on another tangent because I only have a limited amount of time. Stitch! 물론 나는 김치 완전 좋아해. 근데 나 묵은지 좋아. 새김치. 저 미국 사람인 아닌데 영어를 할 수 있어요. 저 미국 사람 아닌데? Yes, very good. 아닌데 would be it's not spelled with an, which is 아니다, to not be. And again, we remove the 다. nundae. So we have 아닌데, so I am not, but. So here in our example sentence that I was giving, it's 제가 한국 사람인데, so I'm a Korean. So I'm a Korean, but, or and, whatever you want to put in here, it doesn't matter because the sentence is simply contrasting. Like, so on one hand, I'm a Korean, but I dislike kimchi. That's kind of, I'm not sure if I'm illustrating it very well. I'm not sure if I'm doing a good job showing that it's a contrast between these two sentences. Kind of imagine like one hand is one sentence and the other hand is one sentence. So on this hand, I'm a Korean, but on this hand, and on this hand, I dislike kimchi. And it's not saying and, like we're definitely, I am a Korean and I dislike kimchi. You know, that's my life statement. I am a Korean and I dislike kimchi. Deal with it. And you're not saying, well, I'm a Korean, but although I'm a Korean, I dislike kimchi because you thought I would. You thought I'd like it. You know, it's not so strong of a contrast that but would do. And you're not connecting it together like and would do. You're just saying, so I'm a Korean, but I don't like kimchi. And it's softer than using and or but, which is why this form is so commonly used in Korean. Billy, thank you so much. I gotta go. All right, Oro, take care. See you again. Pickled and fermented is the same. Is that true? I don't think pickles are fermented. I don't think pickles are fermented though. But I'm not sure. Exalting one of the two sentences. Yes. How does it take to speak normal Korean? I have a video about that. How long does it take to learn Korean? So you can watch that. Yeah, pickling's done with vinegar, so I think that would kill the bacteria. Fermenting is done with, it's promoting the bacteria growing, while pickling is you want the bacteria to die so that it doesn't keep growing over the food. And instead, the pickling makes the cucumber soft and stuff, or whatever you're pickling. 미국 사람인데 건 없어요. Yes, that would be a good sentence too. So you're saying something like, hey, here's one sentence, but here's another sentence, you know? Look, there are two different sentences. Maybe you would say and, or maybe you would say but, but the sentences are different. That's the only point that I want to make. So we have 제가 한국 사람인데 김치를 싫어해요. So you can be explaining something with this form. The reason is, although explaining something with this form is really just one more part of what you're doing when you're showing contrast. Because when you're showing contrast between two things, it's kind of a soft way of just connecting two sentences. It's kind of a soft way. And when you're explaining, it's because you've got these two sentences in your hands, kind of like this. Like, hey, this and this and this. Ha ha ha. I'm explaining this to you. Well, you see, 이 문법은, this grammar, 설명하기 어려운데, it's difficult to explain. Let me write this down. So some of you might like ask me last time. You write down what you're saying. 설명하기 어려운데. Remember with the p-up, it gets 어렵다, removes the p-up and adds an u. So 설명하기 어려운데. You could say 유익해요, which is it's useful or unique or good to know. So it's difficult to use, but I'll just say it's to make it easy. Let's just 재밌어요. I'll use some easier. 재밌어요. This is better. 설명하기 어려운데. So this grammar form, 설명하기 어려운데. You see this grammar form? So I'm explaining to you. You see this grammar form is difficult to explain. 재밌어요. It's difficult to explain, but it's fun. In your head, you'd probably hear this as but, because these sentences wouldn't match together with and as well. But if you were to say something like this, let me give you, so in this sentence, you'd probably want to translate this in your head as but, right? It wouldn't sound as good with, it's difficult to explain and it's fun. You could do that, but it feels more like a but in this case because the sentences are contrasting. So let me give you another sentence that would sound more like and. I was trying to show you that it doesn't mean necessarily and or but it can mean either one depending on however you want to translate it. So you could say, okay, 저는 미국 사람이지만, so there's another one with what kind of person you are. So the 미국 사람, so normally you could say 미국 사람이지만 I'm an American, but this one we're going to use it with the 대 form. So 저는 미국 사람인데, so I'm an American, but, or I'm an American and 아빠가 sorry, that's really messy. 아빠가, so my dad, 한국 사람이에요. You might be like, how is that possible? You're American, but your dad's Korean. Well, maybe you're adopted, or you're just identifying as an American by your identity. You were born in America. Even if you look Korean, you're still an American if you're born here. Okay, 저는 미국 사람인데 아빠가 한국 사람이에요. You could say, I'm an American, but my dad is a Korean, or just as equally, so I'm an American and my dad is Korean, right? It still fits. It still sounds perfectly natural, whether you're going to think of it as but or and. It's totally fine. So before I was mentioning, someone said like, is the goal form like a semicolon? I think this one's more like a semicolon, because you could also say something like this. 저는 미국 사람인데, you will not write a semicolon in Korean. I'm just going to write one here. 아빠가 한국 사람이에요. So I'm an American, semicolon. If you know how the semicolon works in English, it's for connecting one sentence with a previous one. So you're saying like, hey, this sentence isn't finished. I'm going to say one more sentence after that's connected with it. So that's kind of what the purpose of this form does. Like, hey, I'm an American. Oh, and my dad's Korean, and this is connected with this previous sentence of me being an American. I'm just letting you know. I'm explaining to you that my dad's a Korean. I'm showing contrast that I'm an American, but, look at this, my dad's a Korean. But it's soft. It's not so harsh. It's not saying, well, I'm an American, but my dad, now he's a Korean. It's not doing that. It's not connecting him directly with the cool form, Well, I'm an American and my dad's Korean. It's just, I'm an American, my dad's Korean. That's it. So whether you want to translate it as but or and or nothing at all, feel free. You will not be wrong because it can be either one depending on the context or how it feels. Okay, let me look at the chat for a little bit. Billy, is your throat dry? I think it might be. Let me get some water. Let me just get some water. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Punctuation, I'll talk about those next time. I mentioned them a little bit earlier. Someone asked like, what punctuation do Koreans use? I said already this stream, keep it simple. Just use the period, question mark, or exclamation. Don't use the other ones. They don't use commas in the same way that we do in English. They use commas kind of like periods to connect similar sentences. So don't worry about that right now. We don't have time to cover that for today. Okay, let's see. So one more thing. So anyway, that's all you have to learn about this form. There's nothing else like, oh, we're almost out of time. There's nothing else like special about this form, like special conjugation rules or anything, or any other special meanings. The main thing is just this. It shows contrast between two sentences. Every other function of it, like it makes it sound a little softer, it can be used for explaining things. This is just a function of it showing contrast. So the main point is this form shows contrast between two sentences. Just remember that and you'll be fine. Okay, so I want to do one more sentence just because I want to give some more examples of this so you can kind of get how it's used. Let's do... Okay, this would be a common thing you would say. Well, you could say. It's a simple sentence. More natural than the ones we've been doing. 만나고 싶은데. So 만나고 싶다 means I want to meet. So 만나고 싶어요, I want to meet you. So we have 만나고 싶다 is the regular form. I want to meet. So we remove the 다. It ends in a consonant, so we add nundae. Although 만나다 is a action verb, so you might be thinking, why don't we use these rules? Why don't we use 씹는데? 씹다 is a descriptive verb. 씹다 is a descriptive verb that gets attached to an action verb. So you don't have to remember that so much. You can just remember 싶은데. It becomes 싶은데 whenever you're using this form. 씹다 is a descriptive verb. That's the real reason though. So 만나고 싶은데. So I want to meet. So here's our first sentence in this on one hand. So I want to meet on one hand, but on the other hand, 시간이 없어요. 시간이 없어요. It looks like weird because of the line. 만나고 싶은데, so I want to meet, but I have no time. Here you definitely want to translate it as but, because you're not going to say, I want to meet and I have no time. It's okay. But this doesn't say like, I want to meet you, but, like if you were to use the 만나고 싶지만, the other form we learned for but, you can also do that. 만나고 싶지만. So I want to meet you, but I have no time. This could sound a little bit condescending, like, well, I'd like to meet you, but I have no time. It could sound a little condescending to someone to say like, well, I want to meet you, but I have no time. Just like could in English. Yeah, I want to meet you, but yeah, I just have no time left. But in Korean, so if you want to be a little softer, you would use this form. If you don't quite understand what that means to be softer, you can also think of it as meaning to be more polite, less harsh, kinder, speaking more friendlier. So 만나고 싶은데, well, the thing is, so you're explaining something. Well, the thing is, let me add, that's another good way to translate it. Well, the thing is, or so. It depends how you want to translate it. Well, the thing is, I want to meet. I just don't have time. And this sounds a little more sincere. It sounds a little softer. It's not as harsh. Like, I don't have time to meet you. I want to meet you, but I don't have any time. It's like, I want to meet you, but I don't have any time. What do I do with these two things that conflict? These two contrasting ideas. I want to meet you. I don't have time. What do I do with them? It's kind of like that, like presenting it to them. Like, hey, you see, I want to meet you. I don't have time. It sounds a little bit more open and more soft with them. Let's see. It can also be used, so one more thing though. It can also be used at the end of a sentence. This is the last thing that I'll teach for today. 만나고 싶은데요. Or 만나고 싶은데. If you want to add a yo at the end. I'll also add a yo because, let's be polite. 만나고 싶은데요. So, it's at the end of a sentence. Now, this is the end. You're not saying you don't have any time. Maybe they don't know why you can't meet them. And they say, hey, why didn't you contact me? 왜 연락 안 했어요? 왜 연락 안 했어요? Why didn't you contact me? Oh, let's write that here. Maybe you're curious. 왜 연락 is how you spell it, but 연락 is how you say it. 연락 안 했어요? People are asking me to write down the sentences that I'm making. So I'll do that. 왜 연락 안 했어요? Why didn't you contact me? 만나고 싶은데요. 만나고 싶은데요. I really want to meet you. But just like we could end our sentences with 고, you remember? To make the sentence sound softer, like we're not finished talking, right? We can also end our sentences with 지만, but without finishing the sentence. You can do the exact same thing with this. 만나고 싶은데요. I really want to meet you. You might not say this if someone asks you this directly. You'd probably just tell them the reason you didn't contact them. But anyway, so yeah, you can use it at the end of a sentence also to show that you're explaining something to them. Like, you see, well, the thing is, I want to meet you. And then maybe they would ask after that, why? Then you could say, 시간이 없어요. Or you could even go further. You could say, 시간이 없는데요. 시간이 없어요 with the nundae. 시간이 없는데요. It's just, you see, the thing is, I just don't have any time. So it can be used to give a soft feeling of explaining something to somebody if you use that at the end of a sentence, as well as it gives the soft explaining feeling when it's used in the middle of a sentence. So it's the same. It's okay to end your sentence with the 대 form. And in fact, it's often used as well as in questions. Though in questions, you'll hear it used a lot in dialect, but in statements. Like someone would say, oh, what are you doing? Then you say, 먹고 있는데요. Like I'm eating. 먹고 있는데요. Well, you see, I'm eating. 먹고 있는데요. I'm eating, so what do you want from me? I'm eating, and I'm wondering why you're asking me this question. I'm eating, but I'm busy. Like, can you talk to me later? It's not finishing your sentence. It's not necessarily rude. It's just you're explaining something to them. 먹고 있는데요. Like, I'm eating. Why? What do you want? So yeah, you can also use it at the end of a sentence, and you'll hear it used like this all of the time. Though most of the time, you'll probably see it used in the middle of a sentence for contrasting two sentences. So I believe that's everything that I needed to cover. I want to do a quick quiz, and then we'll let out class, although we're actually over 2 hours I wanted to do. I swear, I cut this lesson down a lot on purpose, because last time I went like 2 hours and 15 minutes. And I thought, I don't want to do that. Like, I want to keep it under 2 hours for people so they don't feel like intimidated when they see this giant video when they watch the video later. But then as soon as, I cut it down like half the size of last class. But when I cut it down, instead I just ended up talking a lot more about each form. So it's kind of the same effect. Let me just read the chat for a couple minutes. 먹기 너무 중요해요. Eating is so important. Yeah, Teo can sound rude because you're not finishing your sentence and you might not give them the answer that they wanted. It sounds like you're explaining something to them. Like, well, you see I was eating, but what if they didn't need an explanation? Or what if it's obvious that you're eating? Like if someone says, 뭐예요? Like, what are you doing? And you reply, you're clearly eating, but you reply, 먹고 있는데요. Like, hey, I'm eating. I'm explaining to you I'm eating right now. They would think, wow, that's rude. Like, I clearly know you're eating, but why are you eating my cereal is what I wanted to know, right? So in those situations, that'll be based on the context. Like if you're explaining something to the other person and they clearly already know that, just like the Golden form that we learned last week. If you're telling someone something that you think they don't know using this form, it's rude if they already clearly know that. So it can be the same thing with nundae. You're explaining something to them, they already clearly know that it can be rude. And it can be used like that a lot. You know, people will be arguing using the nundae form. It's rude to talk with your mouth full. In Korea, it happens a lot. It's less rude. A lot of people do it. But in the US, it's definitely rude. You say my name, it's Monica. Monica. How can I watch the video again? It'll be online. This video will be uploaded to the YouTube channel as soon as it's finished. 말하는데. Okay, so I finished teaching the 3 forms. Next lesson I have one more thing I'll do, but next lesson will be again on Sunday, same time as this one, 2 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. if you're in New York, 10 p.m. if you're in London, and 6 a.m. if you're in Korea. And I don't know what other times around the world, but you can figure it out. This is probably the best time to get as many people as possible for the stream. If I do it earlier, then nobody in Korea could come. If I do it later, then nobody in Europe could come. So I'm trying to kind of make it's inconvenient for everyone instead of being impossible for half of the people. Anyway, so I have a quick quiz and then I'll take some feedback and then we'll finish the stream for today. So which of these forms, so I taught 3 forms today. I taught 고, I taught 지만, and I taught the 대 form. Although also people call it just nundae because, you know, there is another form that uses 대 that is not this one. But what are you going to do? So first question, which of these forms would you use to say that something happened and then something else happens and they may or may not be related? Okay, most of you got it. Yes, that is cool. Use the cool form, which means just and. So you can say this and then this, and they might not be related, you know. 저는 김치를 좋아하고 강아지를 싫어해요. I like kimchi and I dislike dogs. You know, it's random, but you can say it. The sentences are completely unrelated. Why do you like kimchi but you dislike dogs? Okay. It doesn't sound grammatically strange at all. It just sounds random to say that. But yeah, you can connect 2 things, aren't related, like one thing and then one thing. Okay, which of these forms would you use to explain something to someone? If you wanted to explain something to somebody, which of these forms could you use? Let me just write the other ones. I'm just going to write which of these forms we use to explain something to someone? Yes, I see most of you are getting it. That's right, 대. So you'll use this 대 form to explain something to somebody, or as I mentioned, you know, to show contrast, make it soft, some soft contrast. Okay, finally, not as easy as you think. Which one of these forms would you use to show simply that 2 sentences are different? Which one could you use to say, this but this. Like, I live in America. 저는 미국에 살지만, or, I'm already giving away the answer. 살지만 or 사는데. I already gave away the answer. It's both of these forms. Sorry, if you were trying to guess it, I already spoiled it. It's either 지만 or 대. Both of these can be used to show that two sentences are different. So, I live in America, but 한국에도 자주 가요. 한국에도, or I could say 한국으로 자주, often, 자주 is often, 가요. I live in America, but I often go to Korea. I live in America, and contrast here, I also go to Korea often. So, good job, everyone. I was guessing of your tone. Yes, you can use both of either of these ones. Which would you use if you only wanted to say, if you wanted to emphasize this, but this? This is a dumb question to ask because I've already written the answers here on the board. But which form would you use if you wanted to say, well, I like A, but I don't like B? Oh, yeah, the live stream, how long are you planning to do it? The live stream is actually finishing now. I don't want to go over 2 hours, and now it's been 2 hours and 10 minutes. So I'm done. And next time I'll try to keep it better under 2 hours. Because I don't want, if someone watches the stream later, I don't want them to see the scroll bar at like 5 hour long. No one's going to watch that. 2 hours or less, I think that's a little okay. Yes, you would use the 지만 form. 지만 if you want to emphasize but. 고 if you want to emphasize and 대 if you just want to show contrast. You don't need to emphasize. Okay, so next stream will be next Sunday as well. Thanks everyone for coming. If you have any questions, I'll stay for another 5 minutes or so and I can answer some more questions. And I'm going to check. If you want to practice and I didn't see your practice, feel free to write that right now and I'll try to give you some feedback on that. 이간 때문에. Yes, next lesson, we will be covering these 3 forms because these are the other forms I didn't get time to cover today. And 때문. Next time we'll be covering the 서 form, which is of these 3, this is the most complicated one. Like learning 대, it has several rules to use it. But I think you'll be fine with it. If you were fine with 대, I think 대 is still a little harder to use than 서. So if you're fine with these ones today, you should be good with these. This is how to say because. These are all used to say because in Korean. And next time I'll be covering these next Sunday. 덕분에. Yes, I'll also teach 덕분에 as well. 탓, yeah, you can do 탓. 탓도 is it's not necessarily like a complicated grammar form. It's just another word you can use. Yeah, next class we will be doing the rest of the sentence connectors. The next class after that, I'll take a vote from you guys in the community tab and we'll pick what you'd like to learn next after that. But this next lesson, we're going to be covering these ones. This video is worth it even though it was long. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry it got really long. Join the group. What's the group? What's the group? Tell me about this group. I can't find your books at the store. They sell my books. Like if you go to a store and you ask them to order my book, they can. If they say no, they can. But if they say no, you can also buy it on bookdepository.com and they ship everywhere in the world for free. And you can find links on my website for any of those. Teach Jana. Oh, I taught that. I taught Jana. Yeah, last week. There's a Kakao Talk and a line? Really? How many people are in this Kakao chat room? You didn't say 고 is used a lot in grammar forms. Yeah, 고 is used a lot. But the 고 that's used in grammar forms, like Someone just said, oh, they might be confused because you didn't mention go isn't used in grammar forms. Go is used in grammar forms, does not have this meaning that we learned today. It's different. So don't be confused. It's not the same thing. So don't think that this go is the same as go 싶어요. Like 하고 싶어요. This is not the go we learned today. This is not and. This is not and. Or 하고 있어요. Like I am doing something is not the and we learned today. It's different. So this is not the same as other grammar forms. This does not appear in other grammar forms. This is the grammar form. These are different grammar forms entirely. So don't get them confused. If you see go, it doesn't necessarily mean it means and. It could be part of another grammar form and not mean and. This does not mean do and 싶어요. That doesn't make any sense. Or do and 있어요. Literally it does, but that's not what the form is used for. So you don't need to get those confused. You might think, oh, but now I'm confused because now I learned that they're the same thing. I mean, it looks the same. Well, you will not be confused by context. If you're confused, it'll be simply because you've never seen that grammar form before. But you're not going to be confused if you know that grammar form separately. You're not going to be, is this and or is this the grammar form? No, it's that grammar form if you see it. If it's not used in a grammar form, of which there aren't that many, then you can know that it means and. 24 people? That's funny. You should make someone should make a fan page on like Instagram or something, or I don't know. 그러가면 했단 봐? 그러기만 했단 봐? No, that doesn't make sense. 그러기만 했단 봐? 엉덩이? But I will. That's all me. All right. If you make a fan page on Instagram, that'd be cool. I don't have any fan pages or like, I don't have like fan groups that I know of, but I have you guys, which is kind of cool. I have some subscribers, which I like. How do you address your partner's parents? They're not, it depends how close you are with your partner. If you've met their parents, it means you're probably really close. In that case, you could call them 아버지, father, or 어머니, mother. That's probably what I do. Koreans don't typically introduce their dates to their parents unless you're actually going to get married. So that's like the last step is meeting the person's parents. And then the parents meet you and they say, oh, yeah, nice to meet you. Oh, you're the guy that's been dating my daughter? I didn't know she had a boyfriend. You know, kind of like that. Let's move this up a little bit. So yeah, if you meet their parents, that means you're in. You're good. Like to join Kakao Talk. I guess there's a Kakao Talk chat room. Yeah, fan page, that'd be cool. I'd love to have a fan page. Okay. Yeah, anyway, so the chat's done. I mean, the live stream's done. You can, if you have any more comments, feel free to leave them on this video. And I check all the comments everyone leaves on my page. I might not reply to everything if it's not a question. But yeah, thanks for coming. And I will see you guys again next time, same time on Sunday at 2 p.m. 그럼 다음에 또 봐. You know the story. Someone asked, will you do these classes for months? Yeah, I'll keep doing them as long as I can. So I'm planning on doing them often, and they'll get a little more organized.